Hi, hello. Welcome in, everyone. I had my mic turned off. Let me switch over to TikTok. I gotta change the title on here too. Oh, ooh. Why does it look so? Hey, you know what? I don't care. That's fine. Let's go live. Can I say RE9 speculation? I don't have enough room. Maybe I can. I don't know. Who knows? RE9 speculation. You can't. No. I'll just say leaks. I don't really want to call it that because I don't know if they're technically leaks, but we'll see. Hi, hello, on TikTok this time. Let me send the word out on Discord. She's so prepared. She's so prepared. I had it ready to go. Had it ready to go. All right, let me. I will never update this iOS on here. I don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to say. You know what? It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll turn the volume down. And turn this thing around. Okay. Hope your day's been good. You look cute. Oh, thank you so much, Mira. I appreciate it. You are early and on time. My God. I appreciate it. Welcome in. I hope you've been doing well too. I've got so I'm gonna play RE4 Remake in a little bit. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about the RE9 leaks. I did something very sensational. I'm gonna say that much. I've got a PowerPoint that I made. It's chock full of like all the leaks, everything that we know. It's all the stuff that Dusk Golem's been telling us. So we're gonna go over most of the things that well, I don't know if it's a he. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm gonna just say they. Most of the stuff that they've talked about. Misty, please, please, I'm about to talk to the people. Hi, honey. Hi, Lily. It's good to see you. Welcome in. All right. Let me. Oh. Hi, Misty. Hi, baby. Let me switch over. Let me turn the preview off on here. So maybe, well, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. It's fine. It's fine. So first of all, I want you guys to know how ready I am. Hi, Misty. It's good to see you, baby. Switching, enhance. I've got a whole thing going. I've got a whole thing ready to go. Misty, her little tail. Scoob, will you beckon her? She's just a little baby. Ooh, that's okay. That stuff can be picked up. It's fine. Aw, little baby. She came prepared. You already know. You already know. Am I joining to discuss this and get my crazy out? I'm only going to be able to do it through the chat, but I'm going to try to keep up with the chat real bad. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So, wait, love the Leon shirt. Thank you. Hold on, let me look at myself so I can not embarrass myself. You know I mean business because I'm wearing my Leon Kennedy Arby shirt. I was like, we stand. I had to be ready. I bought it from the sketchiest website I'd ever seen in my life, but they delivered. Can't remember the name of them. All I did was type in on Google like Leon Arby shirt because I saw somebody talking about it on TikTok and I was like, I need it. I've done a ton of research and watched other people's vids of their RE9 thoughts and theories. I'm so ready to nerd out. Ooh, I can't wait. Guys, I haven't listened to anyone else's opinions because we all know the only opinion that matters is mine. Nah, I'm just kidding. Some people like, they cross their wires. They don't really like to look at the actual thing. So I figured we would just start and look at the exact things that were leaked by Dusk Golem. So Dusk Golem is a game developer. They work for a studio. They have been right before about leaks for different RE games. I think they were right about RE4 Remake. They were right about Village. They were right about 7. So I generally trust what they have to say, and I do have to say that looking at their Twitter posts, really respect them. They have fantastic opinions, fantastic social opinions. They were talking about their opinion of what needs to change in RE5, and they did mention that there's a lot of racial issues with it, especially in like the swamp setting. And I was just like, correct. So correct. So I think we're ready to go here. I think we're ready. All right. Let's do it. Let's get into this. Okay. So the first thing that kicked all this off was Jeff Keighley's tweet saying the nightmare isn't over. Witness an exclusive new look at Resident Evil Requiem only during Gamescom opening night live. Streaming live everywhere next Tuesday, August 19th. Your girl will be there. I will be streaming. Hopefully I'll be able to stream it and we all watch it together live. I don't know. I know that it might be a very sensitive thing. Some people might want to watch it by themselves. Understandable, you know, but I will be available in case anybody wants to see it. I'm being dragged to the asylum while screaming, Leon's not getting a send-off, no! Gets notepad and glasses out. I'm excited. Guys, I think I'm going to save my opinions for when we get to the slides, but they're in a semi, like, you know, the order's going to make sense. The order's going to make sense. We'll find out when we find out, right? Okay. I've got some tea because I know I'm going to be yapping a lot and I'm going to be thirsty. So hold on one second. So everything started with the announcement that they're going to be releasing some more information about Requiem at Gamescom. So that's next Tuesday. We'll see this upcoming Tuesday. So this is the first string of tweets from Dusk Golem, and it's kind of a little bit of a setup. So they said, I think Resident Evil cliffhanger teaser endings are super funny. The weird after-credits scene of RE3 with Jill picking up the vial in the BSAA soldier thing at the end of Village were both setups to be paid off in the now scrapped multiplayer Singapore version of RE9. Now, that was a rumor going around for a while that we were going to see, you know, RE9 was going to be based in Singapore. I didn't really hear about the multiplayer aspect of it, so news to me. Dusk Golem continues. Then you got people thinking RE5 is the next RE remake due to how RE4 ended, and then we have other cliffhangers not delivered on date, like Jake's stinger at the end of RE6 or the Natalia Alex Wesker stinger at the end of Revelations 2. I just think it's kind of funny how many Resident Evil cliffhanger or teasers at the end of their games either get little to no payoff or things in dev changed, so now have to write around them or tackle years later. Just something I think is a bit funny with how consistent it is with the series at this point, which is very true. You know, I feel like we've seen that a lot. There have always been setups to RE games that just don't really get a resolution, or there have been like open-ended questions to things. And I think we kind of just all like expect it a little bit. Also, guys, I'm sorry if the text is a little bit small, especially if you're on mobile. Let me know if you guys want me to make it like larger. I can try to make it larger. I don't know if it's gonna like impact anything, but yeah. So this is like the first kind of setup of Dusk Golem talking about like the current state of RE games and like kind of teeing up to like what's coming up next. So next is somebody said, Blake said, I feel like the earlier games had better storytelling. The cliffhangers and other oddities bother me, but I just try to ignore it. Still, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. To which Dusk Golem said, Resident Evil had a story director of sorts who passed away a bit after Code Veronica came out. From then, it was really up to the team of each game to come up with what they wanted each game to be about. More recently, there's been more consistent teams, but also some growing pains in dev stuff. RE9 is made to be a sort of closing chapter. Ah, yeah. New beginnings for the franchise. I honestly think when the new pipeline for RE gets a fresher start for RE10 and onward, won't be called 10, the story of the franchise will improve in storytelling. So that's kind of the first little bombshell that we get, is that, you know, RE9 is kind of ending the numbered series of games. You're going to put a hole in my shirt. You gotta be careful. You're biting. My gosh. My God, my shirt. My God. She's okay. She can stay. Scoob's ready for like a helicopter pickup. So that's the first thing that we kind of come across, is that like we're going to have a completely new like a new beginning to the games, and this is kind of going to be like the end of an era sort of thing. All of this I want to take with a grain of salt. We don't know exactly what's in store. We don't know what that means. Dusk Golem has also been very careful in their wording of their tweets, basically saying like, I don't know, this is my interpretation, this is what I know, this is how I understand it. So like, nothing's truly gospel, so I want to kind of keep it like that. You know what I mean? I don't want it to end. I'm gonna cry. Okay. Well, there's hope. There's gonna be hope. I hope it's a continuation of mainline characters, but not them. Like people who the mainline character. Yeah, I agree. I think something that just kind of has sort of a just keeps sort of like the world alive. You know what I mean? Like, because that's kind of the whole nature of like of human. I keep saying humanity in these last couple of streams. I guess I've been very sentimental lately, but we're all related in some way. Like, there's always something that traces us back to each other, and so like I could see that being like there's a common thread, even if it's a minute thing with like the new games going forward. But we'll see. The only thing I don't want to happen is Leon's death. I feel like he can go on without dying. I agree. I do agree. See, things like that is good. I'd like to see Sherry become a major character. That's true. Yeah, I could see that. I'm trying to catch up a little bit, and then I'll keep going to the next slide. Yeah, Kitty. Misty loves to be here. It's like she hears me streaming, and she's just like, I gotta be there. The people need me. I'd honestly like to see a Jake game. I think we all want to see Jake in a game. I think that'd be great. I can see fine. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad. Even though she's important. Yeah, Sherry is very important. So there's something that kind of ties Sherry to RE9, I think, in a way. And you'll see when we get to like the potential spoilers. There will be Misty has her own ideas. She does. What do you think, Misty? She's resting. I think she just wanted to go to sleep. There will be potential spoilers in here. I'll have substantial like spoiler warnings. It'll be on the screen. I'll mention it beforehand. So if you guys don't want to know what happens in the game, you want to play it like completely like blind. You don't want to know what's going to happen or what potentially could happen. I'll give you guys proper time for that, but that's not for a little bit. I do wonder what Sherry's up to after RE6. That's true. Her and Jake, honestly. Be crazy. I'm interested to see how they remake RE6 given the size of the game. Honestly, me too. But that's gonna be for a while. Y'all will see. These tweets by Dusk Golem go into a lot, and I think that we'll see as we keep going. Let me go to the next one. By the way, I have 30 slides to go through. So, but some of them are just one singular tweet. So I don't know what they were replying to here. The tweet's unavailable. But Dusk Golem said, as far as I know, part of RE9's whole long-awaited endings and new beginnings stuff is supposed to be Leon's last major role in the timeline. Sure, he'll still pop up in CG movies and earlier timeline stuff. So you got that to look forward to. You got that to look forward to with Resident Evil Requiem then. So to me, I kind of feel like I agree. I don't think that Leon would have to necessarily be killed off as a character, just because you don't have to kill a character off to never like really use them again. You can just kind of like pass the torch, you know, or like just retire them straight up. I do like the idea that we would keep seeing him in like CGI movies, which, duh, I kind of think that's like a given at this point. I think whenever they make like a movie, they're always gonna put Leon in it. I don't make the rules, y'all. I don't make the rules. I just love them. I just love the rules. Here you go, Misty. I'm sorry. I was getting bit. Let me catch up on some of the chats. I kind of just want to see more Nick as Leon. I agree completely. I think that Nick does an amazing job as Leon, especially in this like sort of new era of bringing Leon into games, what with the remakes and everything. So I would love to keep seeing him. RE6 isn't savable. They got to know that. Not worth the resources and money. I think it could. I think there's definitely a lot of merit to 6. I think the storyline's pretty solid, and with the right team, I could see them turning a lot of stuff around. But with that being said, I feel like they'd have to cut a lot of stuff out of it. But it would be, you're absolutely right, it would take a lot of resources, that's for sure. Hi, Fork. Oh, Fork's in here. Hey, Fork, welcome in. I'll say one thing that gets me is that Raccoon City's been nuked. Where are they going to find ammo? Yeah, that is kind of like... So, it wasn't like... It was like a nuclear blast on Raccoon City, so it's like, there's still going to be, you know, things available. But whenever I see it in... And honestly, it's probably been retconned, what with the remakes, and if that's the timeline they're going forward with. But when I played... when I played Outbreak, that city was wiped out. Like, that city was leveled. It was just a crater. There was no RPD. There was no buildings. There was, like, just a little, like, umbrella, like, set up base camp to observe the rubble. Like, I don't know. That to me is kind of my thing. I'm with you on that one. I'm just like, there's not a whole lot there anymore, but we'll see. I guess I'd have to look at the ending scene of RE3 again to get an idea of, like, well, maybe it's not totally leveled. I don't know. I agree. Plus, I feel it's too recent to be remade, maybe remastered in a sense. Is that, I know there's talk of RE5R. There is. We'll get to that. I have it broken up. So the first half of this is talking about, maybe a little more than half, is talking about RE9 specifically. And then after that, it's talking about the future of, like, RE and what we know or what's speculated on. So we got a lot. There's a lot to go over. I think Grace's section takes place just outside of Raccoon City. Oh, you might be right. That's a good point. All right, let's see. You say Forks in here just after you read her message out loud. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Guys, I can't. I hate. Honestly, the little banner at the bottom makes it so hard for me to read the comments. I'm doing it from my tablet. But welcome in. All right, let's go to the next one. Leon and Grace are the main protagonists of. Oh, hold on. Let me start with what they're replying to. So somebody asked, Sukina55 asked, just tell me one thing, please. Will Leon be one of the protagonists of Resident Evil 9? And Dusk Golem said, Leon and Grace are the main protagonists of Resident Evil Requiem, yes. I'm repeating myself a bit there, but will end up being the case. Both play big roles, but I think when all is said and done, this in many ways will come off more as Leon's send-off game. Okay, so that kind of kickstarted a lot. Just this tweet alone says a lot. Like, it's saying that we're guaranteed, well, again, take it with a grain of salt, because these leaks, these speculations aren't to be, 100%, taken as fact. We won't know until we get the game, right? But to me, because I think Dusk Golem is a very reliable source, at least in this case, unless they decide to somehow scrap what they have and do something else. Maybe they just replace the character model with Chris. Who knows? I'm kind of like, this is big. This is big news. Like, because I think we all kind of felt like when we watched that interview with the developers, they were saying, like, oh, Leon's not going to be in the game. It was hard to make a game with Leon, so we decided it'd be so difficult to have a game that's scary with him in it. And it's like, the way they said it, I think a lot of us were kind of like, they're saying a lot that doesn't necessarily have to be exactly what they mean, or they're trying to, like, give this, like, feeling of, don't get your hopes up for Leon, because when we do find out it's Leon, it's going to be even more of a surprise. Because honestly, the devs have kind of done that before. You know what I mean? I wonder how these leakers get their sources, especially if they're not Japanese, because language. Well, I think about Capcom, and I think that's true. That is true. But I think Capcom has a lot of developers that are Japanese and a lot of, like, English-speaking developers. And to me, I don't know how Dusk Golem gets their information, but I imagine that they probably know somebody who's, like, a dev or, like, somebody who works on, like, a bunch of the teams, because they have a lot of information. And I've actually backtracked because I was like, I don't know if Dusk Golem is always right, because I just got into RE maybe a couple years ago again. And so I went through a couple of their old tweets and compared them to when the games came out and when things got released. And they were right about a lot of games, like Village and 7, before the games came out, like way before the games came out. Like, they were accurate about how it was going to be. Like, they mentioned, no, it's going to be in first person, and it was before they ever released, like, a demo or anything. So I'm kind of like, they must have some kind of inside source. But I do want to know how. I'm not going to grill them now. I was so relieved, and now I'm super nervous. I think it'll be all right. I think we'll be okay. Guys, I think we'll be all right. I think we're going to be okay. I saw talk of there being an open section in RC, so maybe, like, the jet ski section in 4. Ooh, that'd be interesting. I would love, however, a Revelations 3. That'd be cool. We do have, there's a tweet that talks about Revelations in the second half. We'll go over that in a little bit. And it'll, I think it gives a lot of insight into what's been going on and, like, what happens, like, with RE games. So I think it'll be. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot that we have. Um, Let me keep going. Uh, I'm just excited. I wonder how they're gonna learn how they're gonna age Leon's model. Oh, me too. Me too. I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions. I'm gonna try to save them until the end of this section, and then I'll just like start going. Well, I feel like I've been giving a lot. Konnichiwa. Hey, Mr. X Lover. Good to see you. We're here to speculate. All right. The next one says, somebody asked, do you know Capcom is planning on releasing more info, pre-orders? Thanks for your insights. And Dusk Golem said, Resident Evil Requiem has a new showing at Gamescom opening night on the 19th, then a media embargo for press lifting on the 20th, then it'll be at Tokyo Game Show next month too. Someone else asked, will Leon be shown next week or will we have to wait closer to release? And Dusk Golem said, I don't precisely know. Again, that's a marketing thing, and I don't have the full picture on Capcom's marketing or anything. However, I do think he'll likely be revealed or focused on at Tokyo Game Show. Hi, Misty. She is going for it. Leon is one of the few favorite RE things in Japan. I can't see them not trying to rise Japanese interest with Leon in RE9 at Tokyo Game Show. To me, that is likely to be more focused on Leon in marketing, since really I can't see how they wouldn't when trying to attract the Japanese player base. So that was interesting to me because I didn't realize just how popular Leon was in Japan. I didn't know that he was like a big selling point for them, but when I look at the merch that's been released at a lot of these Capcom pop-ups and how it's been very focused on Leon, it makes a lot of sense. Oh, Billy from New Jersey, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Welcome in. So we have two things to look forward to get some more insight into RE9. There's Gamescom coming on this coming Tuesday, and then there's also the Tokyo Game Show next month. I don't know when exactly that's going to be, but that'll be exciting to see some more information. I think that the general vibe of Gamescom is that there's going to be like a new trailer and then potentially some new gameplay coming out. So that's something to look forward to, you know? I'm very excited about that. I'm guessing RE2 and 4 was planned though, and that's the contracts with him. Oh, you guys are talking about the face model. I don't know how it's gonna work out with that. I don't know how their contract is with him, but like, yeah, I could kind of see maybe they choose like a different face model, somebody who looks kind of similar, just so they don't have to like. Well, I don't know. You know, money talks, honestly. So maybe they'll make an offer that he's like, yeah, it's worth the hassle. Before anybody goes in on the face model, because I know there's a lot of like people have their varied opinions of him. Personally, I think that he's right to not want to have like a bunch of people losing their mind over him. I've always thought like, yeah, the guy said he thinks it's a little weird. That's fine. Like, that's just my personal opinion though. Is that a Sheva RE5 figure in the back? It is. Let me pull it up. I actually got this from my mom for my birthday. Hi, Misty. I was super excited to get it. I didn't even know she was getting it for me, so I'm very happy to have it. I don't have any of the other figures that they have on the back, but like all I wanted was Sheva because she's like one of my favorite characters of all time. Oh, Misty, no. Oh, no. How am I going to get this back up here? Oh. Come on, Misty. I know. Little baby. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, if you bite me, you can't be up here. Oh my gosh. You said you were going to wear glasses this stream. I did, but they made me look like a geek. Well, I realized I did my makeup so nice, I didn't want my glasses covering it up, and I didn't want to take my contacts out and ruin the eyeliner. I'm sorry. I'm a hypocrite. They should just make him look like he did in Death Island, in my opinion. I wouldn't be mad at that. I would not be mad at that. You're already a geek without them. Okay. Well, I'm ending the stream. I'm just kidding. Capcom doesn't hire actors for the face due to creative control, but I'd love Matthew to model too. Ooh, that's true. Matthew Mercer's a good face model choice in 9 if he appears. Yeah, I agree. That would make sense. Capcom does this thing where it's like I feel like they they do a blend of like a model's face, and then sometimes they'll take aspects from the voice actors. I think they did it with Nick, and I think they also did it with Hunnigan's voice actor. So I don't know. It's interesting stuff. Misty, I'm so sorry, little baby. I know. Bye. Love you. I gotta go to the next slide. So somebody asked, Dusk, what can we expect from Gamescom for Resident Evil? And they said, for those who are at home and not at Gamescom, opening night live is on the 19th, already confirmed to have a new look at Resident Evil Requiem, which is a trailer-focused event. Then on the 20th, an embargo lifts on press previews and impressions, alongside new screens and gameplay. So, yeah, we'll get a new trailer. It sounds like it's very likely we'll get a new trailer. I don't know if it'll be if it'll include Leon. Let me go to the next one because I think it goes into that a little bit. It doesn't. Never mind. Someone asked, any psychological themes for Leon specifically by chance, especially if he's being sent back to Raccoon City? And Dusk Golem said, oh, absolutely. Not only is Resident Evil Requiem the first RE game that Capcom have ever tagged with a psychological horror genre tag, but literally one of the taglines of the game is, can you face the past? Which I think is relevant for both Grace and Leon. So for me, this is probably like my most like exciting like one of my most exciting parts of the tweets that they put out, because I love a good psychological horror. I have been dreaming of getting a good psychological horror game, especially with Leon, because whenever I think about the scrapped 3.5 RE project, I'm like, I would have loved to see something similar to it. Granted, we get Haunting Ground. Granted, we get Devil May Cry, but I still would love to see Leon like in a psychological kind of like aspect. And I feel like they kind of touched a little bit on psychological horror in 4, just with the way Plaga's was, but you know, it's not your traditional type of psychological. You know what I mean? I changed my alt. Oh, you know what? We love that for you. We love it. I've always said I love for Ari to dive into psychological horror. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. If they include Leon, that'll ruin the surprise of Leon returning. It will. Yeah, that's true. They were saying it might be, they might include it in a trailer, like during what is it, Tokyo Game Fest next month. So we'll see. Honey, can you check out my last comments? Ooh, hold on, let me check. I'm trying to go in order. I'm sorry, y'all. Was it Matthew the face model of Leon in Vendetta or a different guy? Actually, I don't know. I can't wait to find out who's Grace's model is too. I already know the voice actor. Yeah, I think we've seen that. Honey, if you haven't, look at my last couple. Oh, hold on one second. Capcom doesn't hire actors for the face. Oh wait, hold on. Wait, I thought I saw these. RE2 and RE4 credit. Oh, shit. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Oh, you followed on Twitch too. I appreciate that. Thank you. If you go to Nick's websites, he has a credit page, and he has a credit under NDA that aligns with his... Ooh, let me scroll down. RE2 and RE4 credit. Yeah, I did hear about that. That was a thing that people were talking about a couple weeks, or maybe it was months ago at this point, but people were saying that he had something that was like listed as a voice credit that he couldn't disclose, but it seemed like it lined up with this project. So that's why I was kind of like, I really think Leon's going to be in this, and I think they're trying to like, I think Capcom's really trying to trick us into thinking he wasn't going to be in it. And then when these tweets came out, I was kind of like, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense to me. Can we just talk about how Alyssa's new model is snatched? Y'all see that bone structure? I think she looks very pretty. I think she looks a lot like, we've said she looks a lot like Hunnigan. She looks a lot like Rose. And she looks a lot like Ashley. I think she has Hunnigan's nose and her eyes a little bit, which is so interesting to me. Honey, basically the credit is mocap and main protagonist or something, and only his RE2 and 4 have had that credit before, so that's why I'm so sure. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because me personally, y'all know I love Sheva, y'all know I love Leon, so when I found out that Nick was a huge, huge fan of Eva Ladare, who I have assigned, I have my signed prints of her when she cosplayed as Sheva. And I have another one back here, just so y'all know. Just so y'all know, Eva Ladera did sign her prints and send them to me. They're mine. They have my name on them. I did see the stream where he was playing. Well, he wasn't playing RE5. I think Eva was watching Jill's voice actor. I forget her name. Nicole Thompson? I think it's Nicole Tompkin. She was playing and she was interviewing Eva Ladere, and Nick, he basically asked if he could be on the stream when she was going to be there in an earlier stream because he was such a big fan. So he came on and just basically like was kind of interviewing her himself too. And he had mentioned when he started doing motion capture, he was referencing a lot of her work when she did RE5, because she also was the voice actor and the motion capture artist for it. So, you know, there's all these little strings that bind all of us in this world. You know what I mean? I love it. It's great. Nicole Tompkins, thank y'all. I appreciate that. Nick and Genevieve are huge fans of RE in gaming. Already love that. I know that's right. I played all the REs throughout the years, including Outbreak. I haven't played Revelations. You and me both. I haven't played the second Outbreak, but I also haven't played any of the Revelations. And I do have to play the other spinoff, so we'll see. She looks like everyone. At least she's beautiful. Thank you, honey. You're welcome. I hope it's actual psychological horror and not just him going, those are memories. I know. If I think about a certain like Black Mirror episode where it's like these soldiers had to see people as like monsters, but they were really just actual people, and it was like the technology that they had, or like something that was affecting them to not see people as people, like that's the kind of psychological horror I'd be thinking about. But we'll see. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so someone asked, how long does it take to final R9? Which I think they mean like how long did it take to, complete it? So Dusk Golem said, for all of development, Resident Evil 9 was in development for almost 9 years. For the Requiem version of RE9 for 5 to 6 years. The change came about around 2020, 2021 to reboot the project as something else. So these games are taking a long time. These games are taking a while. This tweet kind of tees up getting an idea of how the development cycle is for Resident Evil. And I know some people don't want to think about like the entire thing. Some people just want to see the end product. We just want to like, talk about the big stuff. But like, it's important to think about these foundations that lay the groundwork for like what we're talking about, because it's going to make understanding why things get released the way they do make that much more sense, especially when you consider how big of a company like Capcom is. So that's my little disclaimer. Let me go to the next one because this was a short one. This is a long one. All right, so this is in response to people saying basically like Leon wasn't going to be in it. So someone said Capcom literally said Leon will not be a main character in this game. So Dusk Golem replied to that saying, they actually didn't say that. They were coy and said they considered making Leon a main character for some time and left it at that. Though Capcom will lie to hide its secrets. Remember after RE2 came out when they said RE3 being made would depend on how well RE2 did, then announced RE3 less than a year later. Or after RE3 came out, when asked about RE8, they said they needed a break, so give them time, only to announce RE8 literally 2 months later. And before I move to this next one, we know Capcom lies to us. And it's all love. It's all fun. I don't mind being lied to by Capcom because I'd be lying too. He lying to me, I'm lying to him. So remember, as recently as when we had the last, like, what was it? Summer Games Fest? What was it? I forget. But when they were like, oh, Capcom's going to present something. Capcom was like, we're just here to talk about our sale. Give us some more time for RE9. And then less than like half an hour later, they showed the trailer for 9. Capcom loves to mess with us, and it's just a funny little goofy thing that they do. So keep that in mind whenever Capcom gives us information and it sounds a little bit too on the nose. Like, that's why when they said, oh, Leon's definitely not in this game, let's keep mentioning Leon and how he's not in this game. I'm like, that's funny y'all don't mention Jill, y'all don't mention Claire, y'all don't mention Chris. Like, it sounds like Leon might be in it. No, Leon's not in this game. I think they bought it, y'all. Like... Yeah, I love Nicole. She's a joy. I hope she gets more recognition as Jill in future RE games. I do love Jill. I do love her. I mean Nicole. I love her version of Jill, I should say. I think she did a great job. I want to see. I'm dying to see Jill in like RE1, but we're gonna get to that timeline. Let me not jump ahead too much. I knew from the moment I saw he'd be in it. Why would there be RC? Mention him for funsies, etc. That's true. That is true. I can go in Capcom headquarters and interrogate the developer. Hey, they got work to do. Capcom loves to play with us too much. They do. But you know what? That's so real of them because I love lying too. That's all I like. I followed again on. I appreciate John. I got a Taco Bell ad. Hashtag blessed. Well, I hope you get Taco Bell. Have you tried one of their steak grilled cheese burritos? I'm not getting paid by Taco Bell. I don't care if you buy it. But welcome in. I remember Nicole saying she mocapped Elena and Danielle in 2019 during her 2021 RE8 stream. That's legit. Dang. I remember she did work on, I could never remember which one of the Dimitrescu sisters it was, but yeah, that clocks. So it's probably developed for 5 years in terms of RE2. If an RE5 remake's ever made, it's going to come out in 2050 because remakes take a while. We have, I'm not going to, well, a little spoiler for the spoilers. We do have a little bit of a timeline of an idea of what's going to happen coming up. I have got, Misty came around so much. I've got cat hair everywhere. It's like stuck to me. I think Nick mentioned he did mocap in 2016. Yeah. Yeah, they do have to do it like a little while before. That's true. It takes a lot of time to build onto it. Mocap performances are usually in production 2 to 3 years before release. I did not know that. That is a lot. Well, let me get caught up on the latest ones. Ella Freya never streamed it or anything. Oh, she's the only face model I've seen that actively played the game with Nicole other than Ella. Oh, Grace's act. Okay, got you. Also does really great horror screams. Can't wait to see Grace's animations. Julia Voth was a good face model for Jill. Was she part of like RE5 and RE1 remaster? Because to me, that's like the penultimate like Jill face design. I love everything about her face. I especially love the way her nose is. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yes, you're correct. Oh, good. I'm glad. A queen. Let me tell you that right now. That's like my favorite version of Jill, honestly. I do love Jill in RE3 remake, but 5 and 1 remake, ooh, they're just so good. But you know, like I said, you can't really compare a lot of things with RE because they're just usually going to be very, very good. Capcom next trailer is going to be Leon talking about his good genes. John, stop. Don't put that on my mans. Let me read this last one. So somebody said, but didn't Capcom say, we were thinking to make Leon the main protagonist, but he wouldn't be scared of simple things, so they denied it. And then Dusk Golem said, they said Leon is a tough fit for a pure horror game. So good thing Resident Evil Requiem isn't a pure horror game. The Summer Game Fest reveal, press release of the announcement, etc. even outright said RE9 is a mix of horror and high-stakes cinematic action. Okay, no mention of psychological, but I'll take it, you know what I mean? High-stakes cinematic action definitely implies we gonna get Leon, because what kind of high-stakes cinematic action, no offense to Grace, I love Grace, what do she know about high-stakes cinematic action? Oh, Grace is so cute, but she really looks like Mia, Rose, and Jill. Yeah, she does. I'm telling y'all though, I be seeing Hunnigan in her face. Maybe it's because she's also in an office. Like, I actually can't figure out why. I think Capcom just edited her face model too much. Because if you look at Ada's face model compared to the game model, they changed a lot. Yeah, I think I did see a couple of like comparisons to the face models of like RE4 or really most of the remakes, and it just looked like they changed a lot of things. I don't know. I think I also saw it for like RE4 original. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Oh my god. So good to have some green tea again, especially when I'm just going to be talking so damn much. My god. All right. I see no similarities in Grace and Mia at all, personally. I think, honestly, in a way, I could kind of see their noses being a little similar. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's go to the next ones. Um, okay, so there's quite a bit here. So someone asked, besides being able to switch perspectives, do you know how else they plan to evolve the gameplay? Dusk Golem said, right now officially they've talked about, as you mentioned, the ability to switch between first and third person on the fly, and basically designing two different games alongside each other to accomplish this, as require big retooling to work with both. The new lighting, shadow engine, hair engine from Pragmata. Additionally, we know the Stalker uses a new dynamic AI system they've done to behave uniquely and intelligently on the fly. There's a few other innovations, some I know, but also for sure I don't know all of them. A small handful I don't mind sharing is that they've been working hard to achieve having good performance on open-level designed areas like Raccoon City, along with a vehicle to travel around it. The combat with Leon has seen huge innovations, honestly some Last of Us Part 2-isms, but also its own innovations. There's been effort to provide more environmental physics systems and interactivity for Grace's segments where she has to work with the environment more and balance light and darkness. And more I won't say, and for sure more I don't know, but they have a lot more to reveal. So this is a lot. And I'm gonna talk a little bit because I know you guys probably have your own opinions on like what this means. Because I know we'd been talking about, is it going to be open world? Is it not going to be open world? Like how open of an open world? Because to me, RE4 remake was a bit like an open world in that it gave us a lot of room to like move around, but it still felt pretty like confined. But technically we did have a vehicle to travel in because we did have like the boat. That's really it, I think. That's about it. We had a boat. Uh, that I crashed into the dock last night. That was great. Um, so having an open world game where you have a vehicle to travel around, they mentioned having an upgraded combat system with Leon, which I think would be great because especially if it's going to be a send-off for like his like final, if this is going to be his last game as in chronologically, like they still might make something like, in the past. I think it would be great to see how they can kind of expand the combat system. So that was one thing that I'd heard for a long time. During this past like maybe year was that they were saying that the reason why 9 took so long is because they were working on such a brand new engine for gameplay mechanics. So it wouldn't be like how the remakes have been or how 8's been. So it'd be completely different. So this kind of gives me a little bit more insight into that. Obviously, I'm excited about a new hair engine. I think that's great. I think I better see some impressive damn hair then. I love Grace's hair, but don't get me wrong. I'm gonna need to see a little more. I'm gonna need more. New lighting and shadow engine. Yeah, that'd be cool. That from a technical perspective, that'd be very cool. I don't really care about ray tracing. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't know. We got any ray tracing fans out here? I didn't think so. Anyway. I'm very excited about the new Stalkers technology that they're using. And I think Dusk Golem talks about this a little bit more. I think I added another tweet where they talk about the AI model for not just the Stalker, but I think for other enemies. So I think that that's something I'm really looking forward to. Imagine Leon dying in the same city he lost his innocence in. See, that's why I think it wouldn't. I don't know. I think we all want to see it. Well, I don't know about all, because I know there's a couple of y'all that hate to see him win. But personally, I'd love to see Leon, like, end his career on a win. Get to retire. Get the hell up out of the DSO, Leonard. What are you talking about? It's time to go. And now I can officially call him Leonard, because that man is old. I'll take care of him. Don't worry. It's taking so long because 7, 8, 9. John, that's so true. That's so true. Oh my god. That's too funny. When are we going to get a Resident Evil fighting game? They said dance to this old shit and play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Grace is my manic pixie dream girl who has an Invader Zim Gur beanie, and the whole game is her playing. What does that say? No. You know what? Maybe that's what the engine's for. Maybe that's why we have it. Let me read what y'all say. Hold on. I would love for an AI system similar to The Last of Us 2. The NPCs are extremely smart in the game. I could see that. I've never played The Last of Us. Full disclaimer, and I know I'm gonna get somebody who's gonna try to convince me. You can't convince me. I don't care about The Last of Us. I'm never gonna play either of the games. I know of them. I'm not that interested. That's just a person. That's just a personal quirk of mine. I don't know. I feel the same way about Detroit Become Human. You can't. Maybe if y'all pay me, I'll play those games. But don't pay me to play them games. I'm not gonna want to. It's that IRL app game where it tells people to go to random places and they supposedly find weird stuff. Oh, like, what is it called? Like geo-tracking or something? I had no idea. All right, let's move on. Those are very good games, but story-wise, I'm not attached whatsoever to them. Yeah, I'm kind of like... some things I feel like I can kind of formulate my own, like, kind of opinion on without having to, like, do the entire thing. I could see taking away some good things from it, but I feel like overall I'd rather do something else, to be completely honest. But you know, everybody got their own interests. I'm never gonna be like, oh, you like that game? Oh, how? It's fine, understandable. A lot of people play it. It's fine. Somebody said, without giving too much away, since you know a bit of RE9's story, which RE game is closest to its plotline? So Dusk Golem said, funny enough, I think Capcom themselves have already sort of answered this themselves, but the Revelations games is what I'm most reminded of. Resident Evil Requiem in several ways reminds me of the Revelations games, just really high budget and more ambitious, I suppose. As more of the game is revealed, I'm 100% sure some other Resident Evil diehards will have the same, that's oddly like the Revelations games reactions, thoughts on several occasions. For clarification, I realize now they mean plot points specifically, which the actual answer is the whole franchise. It's celebrating the series' 30-year history for sure. But there's a lot of Revelations-isms in RE9. I think many diehard RE fans will see this themselves over time. So that's good news to everyone who played Revelations. I'm not one of them yet. I will be soon. And apparently I need to hurry up and play those. Oh my gosh. There's a lot on my plate. I gotta play RE6 soon. And you guys know that's gonna be... I keep saying it's a 40-hour game, but I think you guys are right that it's only 20 hours. Only 20 hours. Oh my god, this hair. So much hair. Gameplay-wise, they'd unfortunately farther ahead than RE. The guns in combat are crazy in them. They have realistic rifle distance. Essentially, you have to align the marker based on how far. I'd like to see that in RE, even though it'd be annoying. Ooh, that does sound interesting. I don't know. We'll see. Let's keep going. All right. So someone said, one thing I'm worried about is that it might focus more on presentation than gameplay. That's something RE7 did really well in the beginning, but lost momentum in the latter half. Hopefully RE9 won't end up like that. Dusk Golem said, for what it's worth, I think this will become even clearer as more play it, but those who've played it, the difference between watching it and playing it makes a huge difference. It's fine to watch, but apparently feels very good to play. Something RE9 is experimenting with, which sort of comes from Dragon's Dogma 2 and Monster Hunter Wilds before it, is more dynamic gameplay moments coming from dynamic enemy AI, environment reaction, tools you the player have, etc. There's still scripted moments and all, don't get me wrong, but there's also far more diegetic gameplay moments alongside this. I think Capcom heard loud and clear both the praise of certain RE7, RE8 sequences being great the first time, but too scripted. So part of their goals with RE9 is to make these moments far more dynamic. So this is what I was really excited about, because I was like, having more intelligent enemies, I think, is going to really change. It's going to make the game more difficult, but it's also going to make it more interesting. Because I personally play RE4 Remake a lot. That's probably the one RE game that I've clocked the most time into, even though it's not my all-time favorite RE game, but it is the one I've played the most just because it feels the best to play, in my opinion. Like, it's real easy to just pick up and go. RE4 original, I feel like I have to, like, lock in real bad. And, like, I feel like with RE4 Remake, I can just kind of play around. But with RE4 Remake, I would watch speedrunners. I would watch people doing, like, 100% completions, no hit runs. And there's a lot of things that don't really change that much in the game. Except for somehow, like, the cows and the pigs in the game. Like, I don't know how they manage to always, like, have the best AI and manage to, like, mess people up. But the enemies are pretty, they're pretty predictable. Like, it's that you can really predict what they're going to do. So I'm excited to see what they do with RE9. Let's see. Bring back Mr. X and give him jiggle physics and don't make the game at all. John, you're speaking for the people. You're a voice of the people. My God. I don't know if you heard this, but Dusk Golem is a notorious liar. They work for Silent Hill. John, don't be like that. Don't be like that. Let me go to the next one. Okay. So here's where we get potential RE9 spoilers. So if anybody doesn't want to know spoilers for what's going to be in the game, what's going to happen in it, with a grain of salt, we don't know if this is actually 100% true or not. Anything could change. Anything could happen. These could be, incorrect. But if you don't want to have the game spoiled, you should leave, maybe come back in about 20 minutes. It should take me less than that. No, come back in 20 minutes. But this is where we're going to get a couple spoilers in. So we'll see. Also, by the way, on your Dead by Daylight has... DBH. Oh, shit. I can't read. Your DBH has a compelling story, but is really boring to play through. I'm just not taken by it. I don't know what it is about it. It's just... Something has to be... It's got to be good for me. I can't explain it. And I don't want to, I don't really want to step on the toes of anybody who has played it and be like, you're completely off base with that. And it's like, that's valid, that's true, because how would I know? I don't know, But we'll see. All right. So this is the spoilers. Let's see what happens. Grace better be gay. We need a win. I agree. John, I don't think we're gonna get it. Should have got it with Helena in 6, but whatever. I'm not mad. I'm not salty. I'm not pissed. Should have got it with Jill. I'm not mad. I'm not salty. I'm nothing. Everything's open-ended. You can interpret these characters as you like. Anyways. So these are the spoilers for RE9 that Dusk Golem's posted. So you guys ready? You ready? Let's go. Again, potential RE9 spoilers. If I go through this and you get spoiled, that's on you. So someone said, I know it's not related to this at all, but I'm curious, how much do you know about RE9's plot? Do you know little bits here and there, or do you mostly have an idea of the full story? Not asking you to share full details if you do, just curious. So Dusk Golem says, as of this moment, I know who all the characters in the first trailer are, who the stalker monster is, who the hooded figure is, who the shadowy figures who pop up briefly are. I know a framing device the story uses in a huge way that I haven't seen anyone guess yet. I know who the playable characters are. I know roughly their role in the story, but not precisely where their stories go. I know what the main virus/infliction in the game is and what it does. I know why they need Grace's blood. I know a big way that all this ties to Umbrella. I know external stuff surrounding the game, like how this is meant to be a conclusion game and what that entails, though I don't know the ending nor a lot of the story beats. That'd be a brief rundown of what I know of the plot at this moment. So, a couple things. The first thing I thought when they said they know who all the characters are in the first trailer, to me that doesn't read necessarily that these are all characters from previous games, or that these are like characters that are brand new. To me, I'm just like, it could be either a character that's new or a character that's like returning. Then the other thing that popped out to me was talking about Grace's blood. So Grace apparently is going to have a very big role in this story. It's implied in the trailer, right? They were like, I told you guys, it's like that, you're special, you're the one I need, you're the chosen one. Like, that's Grace. And apparently that's why, because she's got special blood. And apparently we're still tying things back to Umbrella, which, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Personally, I would love to see us move into like a new organization, because companies change all the time. They get acquired. They go bankrupt and get remade. And I would love to see like just some members who were formerly Umbrella like become a new company, and that's like a thing that we got to contend with. But things have gotten so big in RE that it's a little bit like, I don't know. Y'all know Dragon Ball? You know how like when they started introducing aliens, it got too big too fast? A little bit like that, in my personal opinion. I don't know. All right, let me read. OMG spoilers. What the fuck? John, please. I really hope this game is as long as RE4. RE7 and 8 aren't long enough in my opinion. Yeah, I can agree with you on that one. I feel like those kind of go by. Like, and not only that, but I feel like there's a lot of scenes or a lot of portions of those games where it's like a lot of people have said it gets very repetitive. Like it kind of it feels out of place. It feels like, it doesn't flow very well. So I could kind of see that a little bit. I think that Please Know You're My Only Hope is a wait. I can't read. Something woman, a part of this new cult thing. Oh, okay. Like the woman walking in the Rhodes Hill Clinic hallway. Mm-hmm. Could it be her mom? Don't dunk on me if I'm painfully wrong. I didn't play those games. I thought that too. Most plausible thing is delusional crazy bee. All right. The next one really does have some spoilers. This is like, I think I've only got 2 slides of spoilers. So this is like the last one. But it's a big one. It's a doozy. Y'all want to still be shocked and be like, oh, when the game comes out, maybe go away. I don't know. Maybe come back in 10 minutes. I don't know. Let me go ahead and go. So someone said, so the giant monstery woman is Alyssa, Grace's mother? And Dusk Golem, thank you so much for all the likes, Jay. I appreciate it. Dusk Golem said, I think people will figure this out next week with the Gamescom stuff and preview embargo the next day, if I had to guess, since not really a way to show off more of RE9 while hiding it. But yes, the giant monster woman is Alyssa, as many guessed, who is a reoccurring threat to Grace. This really isn't a spoiler, by the way. Depends on how you class it. But Dusk Golem says, Grace literally figures it out shortly after meeting the monster for the first time. She's an FBI technical analyst and recognizes her own mother. She just hates the implications of that and doesn't first want to believe it, but quickly does. So that's very interesting. Hola, Linda. Oh, hola, ¿cómo estás? Oh, you're too kind. Spoilers, how rude. I know. So to me, that was like the biggest thing was that like, oh, that monster that, for me, I was kind of thinking that could be Lisa Trevor, but I was also sort of like, would it be her though? Like, that's so far from the mansion. Like, it's not necessarily like they're going into the Arclay Mountains, so I don't think Lisa Trevor would have trekked from the Arclay Mountains to where RPD is when it's been like leveled, right? So I kind of had my doubts there, but I was also sort of like, well, I'd love to see Lisa again, to be honest with you. But being Alyssa, it's got me a little shook. I don't know what all that means, but that's a very psychological aspect for Grace, isn't it? Like, that's your mom's. That's crazy. That's terrible. Life is awful sometimes. Sometimes life is bad, but sometimes life is good. And I hope that's what the overarching like theme at the end of the game is going to be. Because if you're going to go through all this, something so like tormenting to you, it should probably not end on a tormenting note. I don't know. Susie the Sphere Hunter touched on this. The Stalker references an ancient painting. I'll have to find out the name. Ooh, that's interesting. Saturn devouring his son. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep. That makes sense. That checks out, actually. Oh my God, y'all are blowing my freaking mind. I thought I was going to tell y'all something. Y'all telling me something. That's wild, y'all. Dang. Okay, I think that's it for the spoilers. This kind of tees us up for the next part. I skipped ahead just to see where I was at. So somebody asked, or somebody said, I hope that Capcom will stop a little bit with the remakes and start to do side games again like Revelations. And Dusk Golem said, I think Capcom have had a lot of issues with side content in RE, lots of failed attempts, scrap stuff. After RE Requiem, I heard they want to move away from numbers. I hear part of that is due to timeline stuff, actually. RE games having a real world, ongoing timeline made sense when the games took 1.5 to 3 years to make. But now that they take 5 to 9 years to make, it creates major gaps. So I think they want to erase main/side games and more openly just do big budget games without each needing to be a direct sequel. Bonus, I think fans will accept it anyways since they probably are curious what various characters were up to during various periods of time. I think Capcom has been slowly prepping people for this change between the Shadows of Rose time skip, Infinite Darkness going back, etc. And to me, that's kind of... Ooh! Uh-oh. My live ended. What happened? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, that's never good. Hold on. Let's find out. Due to inactivity. Oh, no. Well, I guess I can just go back live again. Hold on. Let me go live. That always happens. I wonder why. Maybe I don't move my cursor. Am I back? Am I back on? That sucked. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I get a live was gone. I know. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes TikTok will say like I wasn't active or wasn't doing anything. I don't know if I need to like move my mouse. Maybe I'll just alt tab out every now and then just to be sure. But I'm glad to be back, y'all. I'm glad to be back. Let me reopen Twitch because I got scared for a second. I was like, I hope I didn't say anything crazy. I thought I was being pretty by the books. Oh my god. Is Grace the chosen one or is she a pick-me? Discuss amongst yourselves. John! She didn't want this life. She didn't choose this life. Oh my god. Okay. So I was gonna say, I think Capcom should stop sides, just stack game development like they did with RE2, 3, 8, 4. I think I like the concept of them going non-linear. Just because I think Dusk Golem made a really good point that these games are taking a lot longer to make because I think honestly that might just be the nature of, I guess this is classed as a AAA game. That's just the nature of their sort of production quality. When the games didn't take as long, well, the games still took, the gap between 4 and 5, I think, was the longest gap that we'd seen between mainline games. And then 5 to 6, and then 6 kind of was like a longer break between that and 7. So I'm sort of like, it does make sense to keep doing like either side games or just cut having it be linear altogether, and that's why they're not going to do numbers or numbered game series anymore. They're just going to be like, this is the new RE game. Like, it's about this character now, and it's about this time period. So they're not necessarily bound to having it be like, oh, we're continuing the story, and these characters are 80 years old now, still fighting Umbrella's bioweapons. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, it makes sense to me. If they stack game development, we can still get a new game every 2 years, I suppose. Because RE2 2019, RE3 2020, RE8 2021, RE4 2023. Yeah, the thing about the game development for Capcom is I think they split up the teams. So you have a certain team that's working on a remake for now. Then you have another team who's working on the like a direct sequel or a new game. And there's a couple of tweets in here that give a little more insight into what happened with certain projects too, because there's a lot at play. There's a lot that they kind of like, I think they're ambitious. I think they're very ambitious, but I think they're also very selective with what goes out and how they do it. And a lot of things get reworked a lot. So it's very interesting, I think. I want to know what Claire was up to between Code Veronica and Revelations 2. I hope that's a game. Yeah, me too. I also hope, I would love to see Operation, I almost said Operation Javier Bardem. I would love to see Operation Javier made into a game that's like, sort sort of a standalone, but I've never played, I can't remember which one is it. Is it Umbrella Chronicles, Dark Side Chronicles? I never played that one, so I don't exactly know the storyline, but I do think that a lot of people like it. A lot of people have said it's good, but the gameplay for it is, because it's an on-rails game, it's a little more difficult to, like, want to play, I guess. I'll just put it like that, you know what I mean? Ari has me wondering if there really are secret labs underneath towns and cities. You know, it wouldn't be the craziest thing. It would not be the craziest thing. I mean, there. How can I say this in a way? How can I say this in a way that won't affect my sponsorships? I'm just kidding. I ain't got none. The world is so large, and there's so many entities of businesses and imperialism that we have a lot of places that are so unpopulated. There are places where they are facilities that are guarded, and people stumble upon them, and they have people ready to escort them out and make them leave. Like, it wouldn't be the craziest shit. Is the Jill slow aging excuse canon? Because if it is, they can use it past RE9 for her, to be honest. I think it is. Oh, I don't know if it is canon. I can't point to where specifically they say it is, but I think it's pretty widely known amongst a lot of us that, like, or not known, but like assumed amongst a lot of us that because she's been infected with a virus twice. Once in RE3, and then again in RE5. So something had to have altered her, like, chemistry, right? I don't know what happens to her in Revelations. Don't spoil it for me, even though I'm spoiling this for y'all. But I think it would be interesting. I think it's an interesting thing to think about. Would be fun if they turned the animated movies to games. Oh, that would be an undertaking. I feel like I need to actually watch those movies. I can't give my opinion on them because I haven't actually watched them all the way through. I watched them enough to make edits, but not enough to actually tell you what they're about. If I find a cable car in my local sewers, I'm so having a go. Ooh, y'all are fearless. I love that for y'all. That ain't me, though. Jill got them good genes. John, if you don't stop referencing Sydney Sweeney, I swear to. Ooh, cheese and crackers. Y'all got me so. All right, let me keep moving. Let me keep going. We're more than halfway through the slides. Thank God. This is a long one. Someone asked, will RE9 bring a conclusion to all the main storylines, including the events of RE7 and RE8? Dusk Golem said, here's how it's been conveyed to me, and I've been saying this for 4 to 5 years now, actually, but I was updated on this as recently as a couple months ago. RE9, they plan to make the last numbered RE game. RE9 is a conclusion chapter as well as new beginnings for RE. It'll be the end of the timeline, everything to do with Umbrella, Raccoon City, its legacy, and long history, and free them up to make major changes to the franchise. Titles before that point will probably still be made referencing these things, but RE9 is the conclusion of everything that started with RE1 and 2, and RE0 if you want to include it. The series plans to move to new characters, stories, new types of horror stories without being tied down by the series' history. Multiple times the team have ran into restrictions by having to tie every single thing to Umbrella, viruses, Raccoon City, etc. So, sorry. So doing one last big hurrah to tackle and bookend various hanging plot threads and celebrate the series' 30-year-long history while also concluding it so they can move on to trying new things, also destroy certain things, which is interesting. Flattered. Thank you guys so much for all the likes. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jay. So this is kind of to give more understanding to what issues they've had with coming up with, like, plots. Like, it seems like they're always trying to tie it back to Umbrella, always trying to tie it back to the characters, always trying to tie it back to Raccoon City, which, to me, I personally don't think you have to do that. I don't think you even have to do that. I think that, like I said, everything has this kind of common thread that makes a lot of sense. I gotta move my mic out the way. Sorry. Everything has a common thread that in some ways going to be related, but doesn't have to be, like, so explicitly stated. And that's why Umbrella did this. Like, no. there will be more bioweapon companies. There will be more evil people. That's kind of the nature of the whole thing, is that it's not necessarily the monsters that are evil. It's the people creating it and the people who don't have scruples and don't have morals. And I think that's a very like wide aspect that we can go into. Let me switch back into TikTok so you make sure they know I'm active. I'm doing stuff, y'all. I'm doing stuff. Oh shoot, let me go back. Sorry. What do they mean by numbered though? Because haven't the last two both just been Village and Requiem? Yeah, but I think they're still classing it as like RE8 and RE9. I think that when they move away from a numbered game, it's going to be a little bit more like kind of like a Code Veronica situation maybe, but not even like that, because it's going to not include anything that has to do with like the last game that came before it. So far, I think what they're implying is that like every Resident Evil game that we've had in the main series is a continuation off the last one. It has something very closely to do with what's happened previously. 7 was a little bit different because it really didn't have anything to do with 6. So maybe something kind of like that going forward, where it's like it's not really going to do with like what's happening in 9. Could be a different time period. It'll be different characters that have no relation whatsoever, maybe loosely like tied to them. That's at least my interpretation. But again, we won't really know until we actually see it. So all the speculating, you know, I love to do it, but I can't say for sure. All I can say is how I'm interpreting it. But like at this point, sometimes when I like see these, this is why I wanted to get the actual tweets in, because like a lot of times we fall into this game of telephone where somebody reads what an author from, or a journalist from a news site, from a gaming site, interpreted from the tweets, and then someone else interprets that completely differently. So I wanted to kind of see these so we can at least see where the basis is, and then we can all kind of form our conclusions. But what I'm saying isn't necessarily accurate, that's for sure. Similar to Just Dance, they went from Just Dance 4 to Just Dance 2014. Now Just Dance 2026 edition. Exactly. Now that's what I call music RE game. I know it's supposed to be send-offs, but I'd even be happy with mainline characters and different plot, not just Umbrella. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, we've got to be able to move past. But again, I've said this so many times. I don't think that the fans are the ones that are saying, we don't want to see a new character, we don't want to see a new plot. The developers are doing that. And we've been very receptive to new characters. A lot of people really like Pierce. We said Pierce is a great character. We could see him doing really well in future games. He's gone in the first game he's in. Oh, okay. Well, I like this Ethan guy. I think he's great. I don't know if we're ever going to see him again. Oh, you'll see him again in 8, and he's gone. Shit, okay. All right, fine. Whatever. Oh, this mold thing? It still ties back to Umbrella. Okay. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad. Like, it's crazy. I thought they went past Umbrella in 4, then in 5 it was Tricell, and 6 was Carla and Simmons. Yeah, so Plagas was still related to Umbrella because Luis was a researcher for Umbrella, and through his research of Las Plagas, created the bioweapons that were the tyrants in Raccoon City, right? And then in 5, it was Tricell, which was a cover-up for Umbrella. That was basically working off of Umbrella's research. It kind of Wesker, right? At least in my opinion. I gotta reread the documents. But then in 6, they were like, it's Neo Umbrella. And I'm like, okay. And then it felt like we were freed from Umbrella in 7. And then in 8, they were like, just kidding. Look at this symbol. Okay. All right. We don't have to keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to keep having it. But we'll see. We'll see how... I'm excited to see where they go. I didn't include one of the tweets from Dusk Golem where they were replying to somebody. Somebody was asking, like, if they're going to move away from Umbrella, are they going to go into more paranormal-esque, like, plot lines? And they kind of said, yeah, I think that might be the direction they go in. And to me... I'm really not interested in a paranormal plot. I'm so sorry. I might be in the minority here on that one, but like I'm not really interested in a paranormal plot line. I like the idea of it being about just regular people doing terrible stuff because I love a mess. I love a good messiness. Let me go into the next one. This is continuing on. when they're talking about how the game's going to be like a send off, and they were saying that like they're going to conclude it, they're going to try new things, also destroy certain things, like the timeline always progressing with our actual year. That made sense when RE games took 1.5 to 3 years to make, but leads to people wanting to know what's been up with X characters when the games take 5 to 9 years to make. Gives them a chance to go back and fill gaps in the timeline if they want with big budget games. They could go back and make a medieval, actually something they wanted to do with RE8 or whatever Resident Evil game if they wanted. Want to do fresher things with the series and change it up. So it is sort of like going away from that sort of traditional chronological timeline that we've had with the main numbered games, and Code Veronica. Just gonna add that in there because that's my second fave. So it does seem like they want to be able to have a little more freedom with the games they make without feeling like, oh, there's a lot of pressure to, in addition to making remakes, the new games that we make have to also like continue on this, or like we can't go back or whatever, like without it being a side game. So I think they just want to kind of maybe potentially free up expectations. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out, right? All right. We're out of the first half. Actually, we're past the first half. I've only got like 9 more slides after this. And like 3 of them are kind of jokes. Oh my God, I'm talking so much. It's killing me. But I'm fine. I persevere. We push on. We continue. So these are the tweets from Dusk Golem that kind of talk about future RE projects, what we can expect in the future, what they know, again, none of this is 100% confirmed, but I think Dusk Golem's a pretty reliable source on this. Somebody said, Dusk, changing the subject a little, how long could it take to be released, and is there any chance that Capcom is producing RE5 Remake? A lot of people have been talking about RE5 Remake, so I think this is where we get some insight. Dusk Golem said, RE Requiem is already announced to be releasing on February 27th, 2026. RE5 Remake is not in development right now as far as I know. I think it may eventually happen due to fan demand, but not on the cards right now. Definitely not releasing in the 2020s. I know a lot of people are going to kind of be a little bit disappointed to hear that. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed to hear it, but there are plenty of other games that I want remade, so I'm not too mad about it. I'm not that concerned. Grain of salt for all this. Exactly, Jay. Exactly. Like, none of this is 100%, but let's kind of think about it. Leon makes his quip in the nursing home with Ada. Ada turns her walking stick into a grappling hook. You know what? Yes, maybe we should keep going. Maybe we should. Maybe we should keep having chronological games. Just send them that. Send that comment over to Capcom, and they'll be like, scrap it all. Start over. Tell them the game's not coming out next year. We got to keep going. Let me move into the next one. Someone said, since Code Veronica could be launched in... I have these out of order. Fuck. Hold on, babes. Okay, let's start with this one. Someone said, next remake is obviously RE1. They will need to tie into the canon ending. Dusk Golem said, the next remakes are Resident Evil Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0. They should be releasing in 2027, 2028, though I'm unclear this second, which is coming out first and which is second. But that's what I expect. That's what I say to expect. Said this many times over, almost 2 years now, it feels. Someone said, if they remake RE5 and or 6 before Code Veronica, the whole fan base needs to migrate to Silent Hill, as that would be a clear sign that they didn't learn their lesson the first time. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. It's not about anybody else. It's about what Dusk Golem say. They replied and said, luckily, no need for concern since Code Veronica Remake should be releasing in 2027, 2028, while RE5 Remake isn't in development right now. Oh, you answered my question? I want the hi there from Claire. That's Code Veronica, is it not? That's from one of the retellings. Wait. Isn't that from one of the retellings of 2? Like Umbrella Chronicles or Darkside Chronicles? Shit, I can't remember. Or is it Code Veronica? Somebody smarter than me. Somebody more well-versed in the chat. Tell me. Yo, but what RE game will be released in 2020? Meanwhile, in RE28, Grace is the director of the FBI. You know what? Could be. It damn sure could be. Dark Side Chronicles. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I was trying to think about where it was because I was just like, I'm pretty sure it's Leon that like turns it over to her and that's why she says it. Because I was like, Steve isn't that smooth. Thank y'all for clearing that up. Appreciate it. All right, let me go back. I'm sorry these were out of order. I tried to review it earlier, but I got distracted. So someone said, since Code Veronica could be launched 2027 to 2028, which RE games do you think could be launched between 2028 and 2030? A new RE game, Zero, RE1 remake? Dusk Golem said, keep in mind, RE games get rebooted and delayed all the time. Hell, RE9 about to come out was delayed twice internally. Not publicly, they save date announcements for when they're certain. But 2028 should be either Zero or Code Veronica, whichever order they release in. And 2029, 2030 should be another Resident Evil game releasing, not a remake and not a spin-off, but a big budget affair. After that, I don't know at present. Somebody said, this one kind of cracked me up. Someone said all 30 RE fans that played those will be happy, talking about Code Veronica and RE0. Dusk Golem said, while the RE series has blown the fuck up since RE7 in sales numbers, Code Veronica and Zero didn't do too shabby back in the day. Actually, Zero has done surprisingly well for what it is. Combining all versions, it sold over 6 million copies. So, to me, that was like... At first, I was like, I played those. I'm one of the 30 people! But no, I think that these sets of tweets I included because I think it gives a lot of good perspective into how the games get made and why there seems to be like a lot of things that change over time because there's a lot of projects, and this is true of any development field, and you can trust me on this one. I'm a software developer, so I know what I'm talking about in this one rare instance. When you work on projects, especially for people who don't know what you're doing, and it takes a lot of hands and a lot of people, like there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, things get scrapped and redone so much. You could be on the verge of having something completely done, and somebody will be like, we don't want it anymore. And then you just are like, all that work, I guess it's nothing now. And then it's nothing. And so that happens. Disheartening that it happens at bigger places like Capcom, but I suppose it makes sense because everything is kind of just like, you know, everything's just a microcosm of another thing. You know, it happens in different aspects. So I think it's interesting that there were things planned, like there were different versions of RE9 that were planned that got scrapped, and now this version that we have is the one that we, you know, get that comes out. And we've seen it happen as early as like thinking about like RE 1.5, thinking about RE 3.5, thinking about early concept art for a lot of characters, thinking about concepts that were going to be included, Ada in RE8, the merchant potentially being in RE5. There's just a lot of things that go through a lot of revisions, and one of those things, unfortunately, is like almost completed games, which is crazy. Like the Shrek movie. Exactly. They did that with The Last of Us 2. They were even making it open world and scrapped it entirely. Yeah, there's just something about, I don't know, there's just something about having something that has so many eyes on it and a lot of stakeholders and a lot of money involved that I maybe it just gives you more flexibility to feel like you can start over and make something new rather than like feel like you have to lock in and complete the thing that you're not 100% sure of. So it's interesting. I think this gives an interesting like idea of like why things come out the way they do. What's the next one? Someone said, this is for people talking about Revelations. Someone asked, will we ever get a Revelations 3? And Dusk Golem said, I hope someday, but at present, no. There was a Revelations 3 in development for a few years, but it got canceled in 2022 because it wasn't turning out good, and they needed to prioritize RE4, RE9, and their recently greenlit Code Veronica and Zero remakes over rebooting it. Maybe one day. So this is another instance where it's a project that probably had a significant amount of work put into it, but it just got scrapped because the priority changes a lot of things with like a development schedule. It happens all the time. And it doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad concept. It doesn't mean it couldn't be rebooted. It doesn't necessarily mean that, like, there won't be aspects of it reused. It just means they wanted to focus on things that they felt were more important to their customer base, which to me, it kind of makes sense. I feel like there's more fans of the mainline series than of Revelations, but I do feel like it would be nice to see another Revelations game, even though I haven't played Revelations. I really want to, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, it's good that I got what I wanted and not those Revelations fans. Like, nah, y'all deserve something too. I was summoned and then crushed. I would love after this game if they did more possible endings like they did with RE7. Obviously, one is canon, but it's still fun. Yeah, I think when I played Outbreak, that was like kind of how I felt. I was like, it's nice that depending on how you play the game, like you get different endings. It could be very good. It could be absolutely wild, you know? And then only more so when I played RE3 Nemesis. Well, that one, you don't really get multiple endings, but you do get a lot of choices, which I liked. Let me drink some tea. Feel my voice going crazy. Whew. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. I already went over this one, I think. Yes. Yeah. I went over this one. Someone said, I thought Zero would be out sooner than that. Dusk Golem said originally, like years ago, RE9 was supposed to come out in 2024 and RE0 in 2025, but both suffered delays as they needed. RE0 got some form of reboot in development late last year, as far as I know. Not unusual for RE games. Right now, don't know the scale of the reboot, big or small. So that's hopeful, right? Like for all these scrap projects, the things they wanted to do, like Revelations 3, potentially they could always, greenlight it, pick it back up, get a team working on it. Because again, they don't allocate all their resources to like just one RE project, and that's why we get it like every 2 years. People think that the gap that you see between games is how long they've been working on it. Like they think when RE4 remake dropped, that's when they started working on RE9. But clearly they've been working on RE9 for a very long time. So it's important to kind of think about that when we consider the life cycle of the games and think about the release dates for them, which I think is very interesting. I think it gives really good insight into it. Plus, it's good to know that it's a pain in the ass no matter where you're developing at. That's always interesting. Question, did RE6 tie up Leon's affairs with Ada? I wouldn't say it tied it up. I could see them continuing it. I could see them like having him having more to do with Ada. It's sort of like most things with Leon and Ada, it's just open-ended. I feel like Leon and Ada are always like two ships passing in the night. Like they can see each other a little bit, but they can never like be together, or like they can never like, sort of have, what's the word? Oh, what the fuck is the word? I can't even think. Oh my gosh. When I think about it, I'll tell you. Like, I just don't feel like there's ever a definitive ending. For me, all I want is a game where it's Ada without Leon. I don't care if there's a game with Leon without Ada, but more so I want to see Ada without Leon. That's why I was so excited when they mentioned the concept of, excited's not the right word, disappointed maybe. When they showed the concept art for Ada in 8, I was like, oh my god, we could have had Ada in 8 by herself, running big business, but we didn't. Of course not. I just don't think romance is important enough to RE, to be honest. I've said before that I feel like Resident Evil, I don't know, like when I think about it, RE6 and anything under that, I feel like they leave it very open-ended and very like, will they, won't they, and leave it up to the audience for interpretation. And that just kind of was the nature of those games. Like they were very like, they were not afraid at all. Let me make sure I'm still on TikTok. Hold on. Okay, cool. I'm sorry. I can't believe they think I'm inactive when I'm like moving stuff around. I feel like they like purposefully have these characters in potential situations that are never like confirmed, and I kind of like that. It's by design, honestly, because it keeps you guessing and it keeps you able to like make your own conclusions, and I like that. I know a lot of people nowadays don't really like that, but that's none of my business. If they're stepping away from bioweapons, can we get an Ada Hitman style game of one of her jobs? Ooh, Jay, you're cooking. You're cooking. You should write to Capcom. I would love to see that. That would be so good. I don't think Aeon will ever be an actual thing. Obviously, they have something going on, but I don't think romance. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read the first part. No, I completely agree. I do. If it didn't, I'd be interested in seeing her in RE9, even a flashback or something. Yeah, I do think that. I think if this is Leon's send off, we gotta see Ada. There's no way we wouldn't. She gotta be involved in some way, right? Shit. I just don't know what would send her back to Raccoon City, though. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. Yeah. I'd love to see her. I just love Ada. I think she's great. Ada's so fun to play as in separate ways. She really is. She's great. I noticed most of the romance is simply from remakes, which is for its time. Like Ashley having a crush on Leon obviously is plausible, but if RE4 was never made in '04, I don't think it'd be added. Well, she had a pretty decent crush on Leon in the 2005 RE4 game, especially at the end when she shoots her shot. And then there's Ada and Louise. Their kind of banter back and forth in separate ways in 2005. Jill's head on Chris's shoulder in RE1. Wesker and Birkin's relationship in RE0, Billy and Rebecca. Like, they always kind of leave it very open-ended without having it be very, like, conclusive. And I think they do it because it's, like, it's such a draw, you know? It's such a, like, it's very interesting to think about it. It's, like, you can let your mind run wild at these concepts, and I like that. Where's everybody going? Bingo? I hope Leon goes to bingo by the end of this. Maybe he can retire and just play. You know, they have professional bingo in Vegas now. You can gamble, and well, I don't recommend doing that. Don't do that. But they do have bingo in Vegas, which is crazy. They also have Uno in Vegas. Well, I think it's a recent thing. How crazy is that? All right, let me go to the next one. I think we're close to the end. Am I going to be? I can play RE4 for 30 minutes. Someone said, I always wanted to see what RE1 on RE Engine would look like, but I know they definitely would not be able to surpass that atmosphere, in my opinion. So I would definitely prefer remakes of the other two and fix on their flaws. Dusk Golem said, while RE1 Remake isn't in development right now, as far as I know, I do think it's inevitable. After Zero and Code Veronica are remade, literally RE1 and RE7 are the only RE games left that doesn't have a playable over-the-shoulder version, and I welcome it. I completely get people saying that remake. Oh, I'm just gonna say it my way. RE1 Remake is already a perfect remake. RE1 doesn't need another. As someone who RE1 Remake is one of his favorite RE games, but I welcome new approaches, and I believe there's actually more than one way to perfectly remake or make something. I think there's even charm in doing a new approach and take on it, and doing so exceptionally. I think they could do that with RE1 again if they put their mind to it. For me, I think it's less to fix RE1 Remake's flaws and more to do an interesting, different spin on RE1 in a new way to experience the game. This is why when I was reading through a lot of Dusk Golem's tweets and a lot of the things that they, retweeted, a lot of their opinions and takes, I think they're a very thoughtful person. I think that they're very considerate with the things that they think about with these games and with what's coming on the horizon. And I also think that they're very, very realistic. And that's what made me feel like, not only do I think that they are a reliable source just for me going back and comparing their tweets to the release of the games and demos of the past and what they've been saying and how they were correct, but I also just think that their general opinion, they are very tuned into reality. They are not, they don't seem like they are promoting their own personal bias a lot onto things when they talk about things. So to me, when they said, like, I would just love to see a new version of RE1, even though the remake's really good and it's one of my favorites, I think that there would still be merit in seeing a new version of it. I feel completely the same because I'm like, having a remake of a game doesn't take away the old game. You can still play the old game. I mean, I played RE2 Remake before I played RE2 Original, and I thought RE2 Remake was really, really good. Then I played RE2 Original, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, to me, I like that game a lot more than RE2 Remake, but RE2 Remake's still really, really good. It's just that you have to have sort of like an open mind, be willing to try a new thing, try a new style. But the over-the-shoulder games do make it more accessible, I think, to more audiences. So I really loved going through these tweets. I really did enjoy it. I actually went to bingo this evening. Was it fun? After playing these, I kind of want to play bingo. I'm not gonna lie. Plus, people used to play bingo on TikTok Live. I would see them like having the sheets and like those little stamper things, and I was like, that looks like fun. There's actually some bingo halls in my area, but I'm a little nervous because I feel like, it's crazy to say this, I feel like I would do bingo wrong. I don't know. What if I yell bingo and they're like, sit back down. You don't have bingo. We've only called 2 numbers. How would I know? How would I know? Shoot. I agree. I just mean the romance ads were super fan service, and for its time in the 2000s, I don't think... Oop, I gotta scroll. I don't think it'd be added the same if they had the ideas for the originals today. Yeah, that's true. They did. They toned down a lot and changed the overall vibe, I think, when they do the remakes compared to like how the games are back in the 2000s. Because, you know, social standards change. I know when I was growing up, like, I loved that Leon hit on Hunnigan, but them, like, omitting it from the remake for RE4 makes total sense, because why are you hitting on your coworker on the job? Calm down. Oh my God, that's not okay, actually. It's crazy. So fun, but the elderly do get into some drama, at least at mine anyways. Ooh, well, that's even more reason to go. That sounds crazy. I love drama, guys. I'm messy. I love some drama. I love to see something go down. That's why I like the RE games when they have a lot of drama going on. That's why I like for me, RE0, I've been talking a lot about RE0. I've been talking a lot about Wesker and Birkin lately. But like, I think about the two of them and their plan to get rid of Dr. Marcus, and then Dr. Marcus coming back and being like, aha, you thought. Like, that's wild. There were no, like, aside from them all being part of developing bioweapons, the bioweapons didn't do that. That was just a bunch of guys. Like, they just formed a plan and did all that. That's wild. We don't even need the weapons. Y'all just messy, which I love. Bring me more of that. So Resident Evil, Capcom, if y'all want to make these games and keep going, like, just make them as messy as possible. I suggest y'all watch Weapons, because I love that. It was also very messy. I loved it. I was alive in that theater. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Play Roblox Bloxy Bingo for practice. That's so funny. I didn't even know there was one. That's wild. I like that they made Ashley wear shorts instead. Now she has Gangstalicious man shorts. It's true. Oh my God, it's true. It's so funny though. Oh my God. My comment's funnier when you understand the reference. Me too. Why do you think I watch Bad Girls Club, Real Housewives, and Vanderpump Rules? See, that's what I'm saying. Sit me down with the original seasons of Jersey Shore, and I am set. I'm good to go. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see what the next slide is. Okay, we've reached the end. There's no more stuff about the future of RE. There's no more stuff about like RE9. This is just extras. So somebody said, will there be any? So this is just for Silent Hill fans and Hideo Kojima fans. Scoob, I got you. You know I got you. Ain't nobody got you. You know I got you. Someone said, will there be anything related to Silent Hill at Gamescom? If not, will there be another Silent Hill transmission or gaming event? And Dusk Golem said, Konami themselves confirmed that there will be a new trailer for Silent Hill F premiering at Gamescom opening night on August 19th. So if you tune in, you're guaranteed at least a new Resident Evil Requiem and Silent Hill F trailer. So that's a twofer, guys. We're going to get it. I will be playing Silent Hill F probably when it comes out. I probably will take the time to actually play that probably the day it comes out. I don't really want to see spoilers, so I'll probably do that. Somebody else said, is it possible that we'll see Hideo Kojima's Overdose at Gamescom next week? And Dusk Golem said, I hope so. I'm deeply interested in it. And with Death Stranding 2 out, I'm hoping to finally see more of it. That said, I don't have the connections to anything insider there on it. So, Scoob, I actually don't got you. That told us nothing. But I want you to know, if I do find out, we're going to see it. So, and I'll let y'all know. I'll let you guys know, too. This gonna be so bad. Toxic RE fans when a female protagonist even happens. Oh my gosh, like leaving that note. Ron was that bad. What was the next one? This is a bonus for other Capcom IP fans. Unless you're a fan of Ace Attorney, Mega Man, Darkstalkers, Beautiful Joe, Piano 3, Devil May Cry, and Dead Rising. I got nothing for you. Somebody said, I just love seeing Capcom take advantage of all the huge success they've had in the last 10 or so years through RE and Monster Hunter and start experimenting big time again. Pragmata and Kunitsugami are both such wildly original concepts in the current landscape. It's awesome. And Dusk Golem said, absolutely, and their effort to revive some IPs with new games starting with Okami 2 and Onimusha. I hope it goes well for them. As much as I'm a Resident Evil fanboy, I think a Capcom who can succeed with more than just RE, Monster Hunter, and Street Fighter is a good thing. So, I agree. I think that I'm happy with how Capcom's doing. Like, obviously, I can't complain. I'm an RE fan first and a human second, and I am honestly being so spoiled. Like, all the everyone in the parentheses who's in that fandom always lets us know that we are fine. Don't ever complain. At least you get new stuff. Me personally, I loved PNO3. I think there's no chance of getting another game for that. It was one of my favorites growing up. I played that and it changed my brain chemistry, just like playing RE4. I loved PNO3. I thought it was so good. Y'all don't know what that is. You should check it out. It's almost like a rhythm fighting game by Capcom. I loved it. It was so good. Also, I'm a big Beautiful Joe fan. I did play that when I was a kid too. So I'd love to see Beautiful Joe get a reboot. Darkstalkers too. Can I tell you guys? Like, I do love Darkstalkers. So like, I'd love to see that get a reboot. There's much to think about. And then the last thing, this is the very last thing, on August 19th, Resident Evil 2 and RE3 Nemesis, the PS1 versions, will be available on the PlayStation Plus game catalog. So they will be available. You can play them on PlayStation. We have a legal way to play them. Do play it legally. I absolutely do that, you know. But it's great that they'll be available. I will be getting it for my PS5. I don't know. It like downloads, right? It's not playing on the cloud, or is it playing on the cloud? I hate playing on the cloud. You know what? Just take what you can get. We're lucky we get anything. Ask the Devil May Cry fans. Ask the Ace Attorney fans. We're lucky. Good food. I will be getting them immediately on August 19th. Good. Y'all, this is all I got. Thank y'all for hanging out and listening to me yap about someone else's tweets. It felt I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to take credit for anything that Dusk Golem said. Everything that I've been talking about has not been anything I've researched, aside from just taking screenshots of the tweets and putting them in like a PowerPoint to go over in order. None of this is like, me doing any kind of investigative work. I didn't talk to any devs. I didn't do anything. So I don't want to take any credit like that. But I do want to share what's been said, because I noticed as much as Dusk Golem gives us and how much it gets referenced in a lot of people's videos and game articles, and they have references back to Dusk Golem, they don't get a lot of credit on their original tweets. I personally don't use Twitter anymore, so I can't really drop them a like or anything. I may follow them on Blue Sky. I'll never tell you guys my Blue Sky. But like they do have an account on Blue Sky. They have an account on Twitter. I highly recommend checking out what they have to say. As I was compiling stuff to share in the PowerPoint, they were still posting stuff about RE, posting stuff about horror movies, posting things about different games, different. They support like so many great things. They were talking about animations that have come out, like animated shorts, animated films that I hadn't heard of that are very interesting. Just all around, I think they're a pretty great person. Don't know them personally, so I can't vouch for everything, but you know, from what I could see on their Twitter, I really appreciated them. So yeah, I highly recommend seeking out what Dusk Golem says themselves, because I think they are very integral to the RE fandom, but I also think just as a horror fan in general, they provide a lot of great insight and a lot of good opinions. And yeah, I was happy to be reading what they were talking about. I felt like I got a lot of good insight. I'm going to fire up RE4.